Henry Essex Edgeworth was born in 1745 in Edgeworthstown, Ireland. The first 40 years of his life were tranquil, with him first immigrating to England at age 4 and then moving to Paris in 1769 to be trained in the priesthood. All of this changed immediately when the French Revolution struck in 1789. Rightly suspected of being a royalist, his apartment was searched by revolutionary authorities on several occasions. His fears of being discovered were only magnified in September of 1792, when hundreds of priests were massacred in the nearby Church of the Carmelites. After this, he escaped to a nearby village. By this time, he had become a confessor to Princess Elizabeth, sister to King Louis XVI. He had earned her respect through his devotion, so, in 1793, she recommended him to her recently deposed brother, the king. On the eve of King Louis's execution, Edgeworth, while still on the run, was called to the king's cell. He stayed with the king to offer support and consolation until his execution the following day. On January 21st, he was driven with the king through the streets of Paris after celebrating Mass. This was at great risk to his own life, being a Catholic royalist during the French Revolution. In the 2 hours spent with the king in the carriage, he gave the king psalms to recite, as well as talking and praying with him. King Louis requested before his execution that Edgeworth be spared the fate that was about to befall him. After the execution, Abbe Edgeworth was back on the run. For over 3.5 years this continued, with him never spending more than 2 nights at one house. Finally, he made it back to England. He then caught up with the exiled Louis XVIII, following him to Jelgava. In 1807, at the Battle of Eylau, he contracted typhus from the wounded soldiers that he treated. He died shortly after in Jelgava Palace, Latvia. So would he believe that the revolution was worth the bloodshed? Although France would come to know democracy, that would not be until after both the Reign of Terror as well as the dictator Napoleon. Thousands of innocent lives were destroyed because of the revolution to attempt to gain a government that would not come about until years after. No, he would not believe that the French Revolution was at all worth the bloodshed.